Hey everyone, welcome to part 15 of my no armor, no deaths, no ranged weapons, and fists only playthrough of Demon Souls, and it's time for the Prison of Hope. When I first played through Demon Souls, I got quite lost in this area trying to work out which cells could be opened and when, and where to find the keys, and how to get from each level to each other level. But mostly, the biggest pain in the ass in this level are the Mind Flayers, and I really wasn't sure how I would deal with them with fists. In my first playthrough, I was a cheap magic user, so I just killed them from a distance. So this was the actual first time I was really ever fighting a Mind Flayer from up close. Didn't exactly go smoothly, but didn't exactly go badly either. I felt pretty good about that. I felt a lot less intimidated by Mind Flayers at this point. And here I pick up the third floor cell key. I wasn't very familiar with the Prison of Hope. I'd already been through it before, but this place was kind of like a spaghetti tree to me to try to remember where to go. But I did know to be cautious of holes in the floor where you can fall to your death. I think I fell to my death a couple of times when wandering around here. So I was very, very conscious of looking at the floor everywhere I walked. Also, I wasn't entirely sure what floor I was on here until I picked up the third floor cell key, and that was opening the cells here. So I knew that the archstone was on the third floor. Just quickly reducing my item burden. was feeling pretty good about the mind flayers at this point, because even though every time I'd fought one, I'd been knocked down a couple of times by that lantern attack of theirs, it had taken off very little health. So yeah, I was no longer worried about mind flayers here. So yeah, I couldn't 100% remember this area. I thought that might have been a door. I also got really confused when I pick up this 3F cell key. I'd already had a 3F cell key, but I guess because this is like a second section of the third floor, it has its own key. I wasn't 100% sure on that, but I assumed maybe there's also the possibility that there are two 3F cell keys and both do the same job, and you can just find them in different locations. Either way, I didn't know for sure, but I had picked them both up. So yeah, I was able to open all the cells on the third floor. Because the stairs had gone up, I assumed this must have been the fourth floor. So I knew I had to find a 4F cell key around here somewhere. I had no chance of knocking down that body hanging from the ceiling with an item on it. I'm not using any ranged items in this playthrough, so that item was just simply out of reach for me. I knew the key had to be around somewhere. And I knew that there had to be a mind flayer around somewhere as well, and probably a hole in the floor, so not knowing the area very well, I was being very, very, very cautious. I also remembered these Iron Maidens can poison you when you open them. The problem was I couldn't remember which Iron Maidens specifically were traps and which ones were not. I was trying to rack my memory to whether or not I got poisoned by these two in my first playthrough or not. That one had a kind of a green glow on it, so I was thinking maybe that one's a poison one. I really didn't know, so I thought I'd leave them for the moment and come back to them later. I was probably in the end going to open them all anyway, you know, and just deal with the poison if it or when it happened. But for now, I thought I better just leave them and get my bearings on the area, see if there are any more Iron Maidens. And I spotted that one. And I opened that one and instantly got poisoned. So the very first one I tried, I got poisoned and I thought, screw it, I'll open them all. I think I've got what I need to heal myself from being poisoned. And I put on the poison ring and yeah, so that was fine. And once again, I'm using the Adjudicator shield to double up on my passive regen, health regen, but I won't be using any shields in this playthrough at all, apart from the Adjudicator shield for its healing abilities. So here I'm waiting for my vitality to heal, but it turned out being poisoned was doing more damage to me than I expected it to. I thought the poison resistance ring combined with the regenerator's ring and the Adjudicator shield would compensate for the poison damage, but my health was ticking down pretty quickly, so I decided to go into my inventory and use a Noble's Lotus to cure the poison. And that enabled me to put the Thief Ring back on anyway and go and deal with the next Mind Flayer. And it turned out, even though I was apprehensive about dealing with Mind Flayers before I came here, they're actually very easy just to strafe around and constantly backstab them. So yeah, Mind Flayers turned out to be a lot easier than I anticipated with fists, and I think my whole apprehension about them was purely because I'd never really fought them up close before. thanks to being a magic user in my first playthrough. So anyway, that's the 4th floor cell key there. So I now have the 3rd floor and 4th floor cell keys. This item here turned out to be the secret dagger, and when I picked that up I started wondering about my next playthrough and whether or not I might like to do a dagger only playthrough, since I'd never played with the dagger either. But I quickly forgot about that idea at the time when I picked this up, which was the claws. The claws are a fist only weapon. I'd been farming for iron knuckles and now I finally had my first fist weapon. Unfortunately, you only get one, so you can't equip it to both hands, and also unfortunately I did not have the stats to be able to use it effectively. I didn't have the level of dexterity that you need to be able to wield these properly, and that meant that the amount of damage that they would do whilst on my hand would be like, I don't know, something like a quarter of the amount of damage my bare fists were doing. So I decided I couldn't wear the claws right now, and if I were to be able to wear them I would have to invest some souls into my dexterity. The thing is, I also hadn't decided whether I would use claws just yet. I was getting a little bit tired of 20-minute boss fights, so I did want to increase the amount of damage that I was doing. I just really wasn't sure whether or not I considered claws or any type of fist weapon as valid for a fist only run. But then yeah, I thought I'll think about it when I've got enough souls to upgrade my dexterity, and whether or not the damage increase by upgrading my dexterity would make it worthwhile investing into dexterity so I could wear the claws, which meant I had to wait until I was back at a blacksmith able to upgrade the claws before I would really decide on whether it was worth the upgrade and whether it was worth putting on fist weapons or not. I didn't really have too much of a problem in hindsight if I think about it with using fist weapons in a fist only run. It's a fist only run, it's not a bare fist only run. I guess the only thing I hadn't decided at this point was whether or not I was doing a bare fist only run or not. And ultimately that came down to, once I found the claws, ultimately that came down to how much extra damage I might get from the claws if I could upgrade them and wear them. So for now, whether I liked it or not, I was sticking with bare fists. But I guess the best news at this point after finding the claws was knowing I wouldn't be going back to Tunnel City to farm for iron knuckles ever again. Not that I was going to, I was already over it, but yeah, now definitely not.
You're still intact, aren't you?
This is the once royal mistress. She's a merchant, and from her you can buy a lot of stuff that I had no need for. However, she sells Noble's Lotus, which is good for curing poison. Not a bad thing to stock up on while you're here, getting ready for when you end up in the depraved chasm and beyond. But I didn't need anything from her. I'm merely talking to her as part of completing as much of the game as I could in this run. And I said I was looking out for holes, and there's one right there. I ran further that direction, that would be the end of my no-death playthrough. I'm opening all of these cells here, but that was primarily because I didn't really know if there was anything worthwhile in them. I was actually hoping to get a second set of claws so I could equip it to both hands. That would have been cool. It would have been a She-Hulk Wolverine, but yeah, no second set of claws here, I'm afraid. But I had to check every cell because I had no idea which items or what items were where, and also probably didn't hurt to get these extra souls, although if I wanted to get souls in this game, I could have easily just gone to the final Archstone in World 4 and farmed those stingrays with the Storm Ruler. That's probably the best area I have available to me to farm souls, but I didn't want to farm souls. I was really searching for items here rather than doing that. Yeah, and had I bought just a couple of Noble Lotuses from the once Royal Mistress, I wouldn't have been worried about getting poisoned from any of these Iron Maidens. I mean, I wasn't worried. I knew I was going to get poisoned by opening them eventually, and I do right here. But I'm just saying, probably not a bad idea to stock up on Noble Lotuses, just to have a few in hand for what I knew was coming up in the future, which was some poison levels. Not really any other poison to worry about in this level though, in the Prison of Hope. So, not such a big deal here. Here I send the claws off to storage just as part of the task of lightening my item burden, but I did intend to pull the claws out of storage the moment I was back at the Nexus, just to see whether or not upgrading them and wearing them would be worthwhile. Here I speculated I'm about at the 3rd floor, and there's another set of stairs here, and this is the confusing part for the Prison of Hope. I wasn't sure exactly where to go at this point. I was trying to remember, but I really couldn't remember, but I assumed if I'm on the 3rd floor, then I need to go down to the 2nd floor and take it from there, so that's what I did. And I saw a glint as I opened this up, and there it is again. And I went to the wall, wasn't there, and it was there. So that was the glint is the giveaway that there's a key there, and that was the 1st floor cell key. And I was thinking, I must be on the 2nd floor. I thought I was on the 2nd floor, but according to that, I may be on the 1st floor. And then when these stairs went down, I thought, yeah, okay. Maybe this is the 1st floor. Right here. But I still wasn't 100% sure, and behind me I knew there was another set of stairs going down. So I thought, alright, I'm going to go and check down here and just see if there's anything I can open with the keys I have. And that way I'll know that that floor I was just staring at was the 2nd floor, and I would know that this down here would either be the ground floor or the 1st floor, depending on what my keys opened or what keys were on the walls down here. And then I opened this gate and it told me this was the 1st floor. So I knew straight away the stairs would go up to the 2nd floor from here, and this was the 1st floor. With that sorted out, this is a really good spot to end part 15. I'll continue on with the Prison of Hope in part 16. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.